The twin suns burned hot above the alien marketplace, throwing long shadows across the dusty ground. The air smelled of strange spices, smoke, and the heavy scent of fear. Traders shouted, selling their goods. Alien children ran between stalls. But at the far edge of the market there was silence. No one dared to go near the old stone platform where a creature sat chained. It was massive, its body covered in thick dark fur tangled with dirt. Its fangs glistened even when its mouth was closed. Its claws could tear through steel. One wrong move and the beast would rip apart anyone foolish enough to come close. The alien crowd kept their distance, whispering warnings, their eyes filled with both respect and terror. The young alien girl sat beside the beast, her eyes hard and protective. She was no older than 20 in human years, her silver skin glinting under the suns. Around her waist hung a ceremonial sash, showing her as the guardian of the beast. She glared at anyone who stared too long, daring them to challenge her. The human traveler noticed the scene as he walked through the market. He was new to the planet, a stranger in simple clothes, carrying only a pack on his back. He had wandered far from Earth, learning about alien cultures, their food, their stories, their ways. But what caught his eyes today was not the bright market or the shining ornaments, it was the chained beast and the lonely girl beside it. "Stay away. Off-worlder," muttered an old alien merchant as the human passed his stall. "That thing is death. Even we fear it. Only the girl keeps it calm. No outsider should go near." The human stopped. He looked at the beast carefully, not with fear, but with curiosity. The fur was dirty, matted, crawling with dust. Its glowing eyes burned with anger, yes, but also with something else. Something tired, something neglected. He tilted his head, watching. To others it looked ferocious. To him it looked sad. The girl noticed his stare. She stood up quickly, her voice sharp. "You there, human. Do not even think of stepping closer. This beast is my guardian. It is sacred to my people. Outsiders are forbidden to touch it." The human raised his hands in peace, a calm smile on his face. "I mean no harm," he said softly. His voice carried no fear, only gentle warmth. The girl's silver eyes narrowed. "Then turn around. Go back to your trade. Forget you saw it. This is not for you." But the human didn't turn away. He crouched a little, lowering himself to meet the beast's glowing gaze. The crowd gasped in shock, whispers rising like buzzing insects. They were certain the beast would lunge at him. The beast growled low, a deep rumble shaking the chains. The girl's heart pounded. She gripped the rope tightly, ready to pull it back if the creature attacked. Her voice cracked with both fear and anger. "Stop, you'll die!" Yet the human didn't flinch. He reached slowly into his pack. The crowd held their breath. Perhaps he was drawing a weapon, they thought. Perhaps he wanted to fight, but instead he pulled out a small bar of soap wrapped in cloth. He also placed a little brush on the ground. The alien girl blinked, confused. The crowd murmured, unable to understand. "What are you doing?" the girl demanded. The human smiled faintly. "It's dirty," he said simply. "Look at it. Its fur is a mess. No creature, sacred or not, should be left like that." The girl's eyes widened in disbelief. This man, this foolish off-worlder, wanted to clean her beast? The sacred guardian of her people? Was this a joke? Or madness? The beast growled again, louder this time, saliva dripping from its mouth. The alien crowd stepped back, some clutching their children, others whispering curses at the human's foolishness. Yet the human only stayed calm, holding out his hand, not in challenge but in quiet offering. For a long moment nothing moved. The girl felt her chest tighten. She was certain her beast would attack and tear him apart. She almost shouted again, almost pulled the chain, almost begged him to stop. But then, the beast tilted its head slightly. The growl faded to a low rumble, almost like confusion. It sniffed the air near the human, smelling the strange soap. The human's smile grew just a little. "See, not a monster. Just tired. Just waiting for someone to notice." The girl's lips parted in shock. Her whole life she had been told her guardian beast was ferocious, untrusting, untamable by anyone but her. She had raised it since childhood, fed it, trained it, protected it. Yet now, before her very eyes, this human stood calmly in front of it, closer than anyone had dared. The crowd whispered louder. Some said he was mad. Others said he had a death wish. But a few, just a few, began to wonder. Was this human seeing something they had missed all along? The girl's heart raced. She could not understand it, but one thing was certain. Something dangerous, something unthinkable was about to happen. The alien marketplace was no longer alive with trade. Every stall had gone quiet, every merchant frozen in disbelief. All eyes were locked on the human who knelt calmly before the chained beast. In his hand, not a weapon, not food, but a bar of soap. The young alien girl trembled with fury. Her silver skin glistened under the suns, her voice sharp and loud. "Stop this at once. You dare mock us? This is no toy, no pet to be washed like dirty cloth. It is a sacred guardian. Our people bathe it only with fire and smoke during rituals. Water and soap, never." But the human didn't argue. He simply poured water from his flask onto the brush. The crowd gasped in horror, some covering their mouths, others whispering that he was insulting the old traditions. The beast growled again, its chains rattling against the stone platform. Foam began to form as the human rubbed the soap across the brush, his movement slow, steady, calm. He looked into the beast's glowing eyes. "Easy," he said gently. "You've carried dirt for too long. Let me help." The alien girl clenched her fists. Anger boiled inside her, yet deep down she felt something else, a strange fear that the beast might actually accept him. The human moved closer, his hand steady, the brush dripping with soap. The beast sniffed once, then let out a sound that startled everyone. It wasn't a roar. It wasn't a snarl. It was something softer, like a heavy sigh. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The human placed the brush gently against the beast's fur and began to scrub. Thick dirt clumped off, falling onto the stone. White suds spread across the dark fur, sparkling in the suns. The crowd leaned forward, unable to believe what they were seeing. The girl's breath caught in her throat. No, this cannot be. The beast didn't attack. It didn't thrash. Instead, it lowered its head slightly, allowing the human to continue. With every stroke, the fur beneath the dirt revealed a deep, glossy shine. The creature almost looked younger, stronger, alive. And then something unbelievable happened. The beast let out a sound that was almost like a purr. A low, vibrating rumble of pleasure. The market erupted in chaos. Some shouted that it was witchcraft. Others cried that the human had cursed the guardian. A few elders shook their heads in disbelief, murmuring that they had never seen the beast so calm in their lifetime. The girl's chest tightened. She wanted to run forward, to pull the chain, to stop this madness. Yet her legs felt heavy. Her heart pounded as she watched her beast enjoy the human's touch, something it had never allowed even her to do so freely. The human chuckled softly, not at the crowd, not at the girl, but at the beast. "You like that, don't you? Just a little cleaning, that's all. Every living thing deserves to feel cared for." Soap bubbles clung to the beast's face, dripping down its nose. The sight was so absurd that some in the crowd laughed nervously. To see a creature of nightmares, covered in white suds looking almost playful, was beyond their imagination. The girl's hands shook. She shouted, her voice cracking. "Stop, you're humiliating it." "You're humiliating me." The human looked up at her, his expression calm but serious. "No, I'm showing respect. Sometimes respect is not fire, not chains, not fear. Sometimes it's care. Sometimes it's this." The word struck her like a blow. No outsider had ever dared speak to her like that, not in front of her people. Yet his voice carried no mockery, only honesty. The beast shifted its weight, lying down slightly, its huge body relaxing. Foam spread across its fur as the human scrubbed harder, revealing hidden scars beneath the dirt, old wounds healed but never cared for. The girl felt her throat tighten. She had never seen those scars. She had never looked this closely. For the first time she wondered, had she truly known her guardian at all? The crowd buzzed louder. Some said the beast had chosen a new master. Others claimed the human must be punished for breaking sacred law. The tension grew thick in the air. Still, the human continued, unbothered by their stares. He rinsed the brush in water, squeezed more foam onto the beast, and laughed when the creature sneezed at the bubbles. The girl's face burned red with a storm of emotions: rage, shame, confusion. She felt her authority slipping, her bond with the beast crumbling. She wanted to hate the human. She wanted to strike him, to make him stop. Yet something inside her whispered that he wasn't stealing her guardian. He was simply seeing it differently, and that terrified her more than anything. The beast stretched out, letting the human clean its great paws. Its claws glistened like polished obsidian, its eyes half closed, glowing faintly with trust. The alien girl stumbled back, whispering to herself. No, no, this isn't real. The marketplace was louder than ever. Whispers, shouts, gasps. It felt as if the entire city had gathered to witness the impossible. A beast of terror chained for decades was now lying calmly on the stone platform, foam and bubbles clinging to its dark fur. And the human with nothing but soap and water was scrubbing it as if it were nothing more than a gentle pet. The alien girl stood frozen, her fists clenched, her breath sharp in her throat. Her guardian beast, the creature she had raised since childhood, was supposed to obey her alone. It was her pride, her strength, her shield against the world. But now it was rolling slightly to the side, enjoying the human's touch, its rumbling growl sounding disturbingly like a purr. Her silver eyes burned. She could not let this continue. "You," she shouted, her voice echoing across the market. The crowd hushed instantly. All eyes turned to her as she stepped forward, her sash of guardianship swaying at her waist. "Human, stop this madness! You insult me!" "You insult my people." The human glanced up calmly, his hand still moving across the beast's thick neck. "I insult no one," he said softly. "I only show kindness. That's all." Her cheeks flushed with heat. How dare he speak so calmly, as if this was not a crime? She'd spent years learning the sacred rites, feeding the beast special herbs, keeping it strong, teaching it loyalty. And yet, with a bar of soap, this stranger had undone everything. "Do you not understand?" she cried, her voice breaking. "This creature is sacred. It is not to be touched by outsiders, not to be washed with bubbles like some street dog." Some in the crowd nodded fiercely, agreeing with her. Others whispered uneasily, glancing between her and the beast. For the first time, doubt was spreading among them. The human paused. He looked into the beast's glowing eyes and then back at the girl. "Sacred or not," he said firmly, "it is still alive. Alive things deserve care, not fear." Her heart twisted. His words stabbed at something inside her, something she didn't want to feel. She remembered the long nights when the beast growled in pain, when its fur stank of rot, when she had turned her head away because tradition said no water should touch it. She had believed that loyalty was enough, that feeding it was enough. But what if she had been wrong? "No!" she screamed suddenly, shaking her head as if to silence her own thoughts. She ran forward, her sash trailing behind her, and grabbed the chain that held the beast. "Guardian!" she commanded. "End this! Tear him apart!" The crowd gasped. Her order was law. The beast should have leapt, teeth and claws flashing, shredding the human in seconds. But the beast only blinked slowly, its chest rumbling in a low, lazy sound. It did not attack. It did not move. It simply lowered its head into the human's soapy hands. The girl's breath caught. Her fingers trembled around the chain. No, you must obey me. You must." The human looked up at her, his face calm but his eyes sharp. "It doesn't want to hurt me." "Can't you see?" Maybe it never wanted to. Tears stung her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She was the guardian, chosen from birth. She could not show weakness, not now. Not in front of her people. You are tricking it," she spat, though her voice shook. "You use some hidden power. You think you can steal it from me. You cannot." The elders in the crowd began to murmur, their voices low and grave. "Perhaps the beast chooses who it obeys," one said. "Perhaps it sees something in the human that even we do not." The girl's chest tightened with panic. She felt the ground slipping from beneath her feet. If the beast chose the human over her, everything she was, her title, her duty, her honor, would mean nothing. She stepped back, shaking her head violently. "No, this is a lie. He is a thief, a deceiver. He wants to shame me." The beast stretched out lazily, letting the human clean its scarred leg. Foam clung to its claws, dripping onto the ground like snow. The human chuckled softly, completely unafraid, as if the creature were nothing more than a giant puppy. The girl could no longer breathe, her vision blurred. In her ears, the market was a storm of whispers, shouts, questions, but inside her chest only one sound echoed, the shattering of her certainty. She fell to her knees, clutching the chain desperately. Please stop," she whispered, her voice breaking now, no longer proud, no longer strong. The human froze, his hand still resting on the beast's fur. He looked at her with quiet eyes that held no victory, no triumph, only pity. And that pity burned her worse than any insult ever could. The crowd shifted uneasily, sensing something far deeper was happening than soap and suds. This was no longer about a human cleaning a beast. This was about loyalty, about power, about who truly understood the creature at their center. And for the first time in her life, the alien girl realized she was losing. The chain in the alien girl's hand felt heavier than ever. She pulled on it again, desperate, her voice sharp and trembling. "Guardian, listen to me, obey me." But the beast didn't move the way she wanted. Instead, its glowing eyes shifted back to the human who was still kneeling with soap and brush in his hands. The human's hand moved slowly over the beast's scarred neck, careful not to press too hard. The crowd held its breath, waiting for claws, for blood, for the scream of a man foolish enough to tempt death. But none of that came. Instead, the beast leaned into his touch. A low sound rolled from its chest, not rage, not hunger, but something softer. The human smiled faintly. "That's it. You're stronger than they think. You just needed someone to notice." The alien girl's throat tightened. She had spent her life feeding it, chaining it, protecting it with rituals of smoke and fire. She had thought that was enough. But now she saw scars hidden beneath the fur. Old wounds from battles long forgotten, never treated, never healed. Her hands trembled as she realized she had never cleaned them, never even tried. The beast shifted again, its nose pressed lightly against the human's arm, as if asking for more. The crowd gasped. Never before had the creature shown affection, not to elders, not to priests, not even to the girl who had raised it. The whispers turned sharp. "It has chosen him," one voice said. "The beast has chosen the human." "No," the girl shouted, spinning on the crowd. Her silver skin flushed dark with shame. "It is mine. It has always been mine. He tricks you all." But even as she screamed, her guardian ignored her. Its tail, heavy like a steel whip, thudded gently against the ground in a slow rhythm. It was a sound of comfort, not warning. The elders stepped forward, their long robes dragging across the dust. One of them, his face lined with age, spoke in a low, steady voice. "In all our years, we have never seen it like this. Always chained, always feared, always respected, but never loved. And yet this stranger," he gestured at the human, "this stranger shows it care and it responds." The girl's eyes burned with tears she refused to shed. She wanted to scream again, to deny it. But deep inside she knew they were right. She had seen the beast restless in the nights, growling at shadows, trembling in silence. She had told herself it was strong, that it needed no comfort. But now she saw the truth. The human rinsed his brush in water again. He spoke not to the crowd, not to the girl, but directly to the beast. "You're not a monster," he whispered. "You're just tired of being alone." The beast let out a deep rumble, pressing its huge head into his chest for just a moment. The human chuckled and scratched behind its ears. The massive creature, feared across the land, closed its eyes like a child being comforted. The crowd erupted. Some shouted in awe, some in anger. Some cried out that their traditions had been broken, that the sacred guardian had betrayed them. Others whispered with wonder, their voices trembling. Maybe the human is not an intruder. Maybe he is chosen. The girl dropped to her knees, her strength fading. The chain clinked softly against the stone. For the first time, she realized she was not the only bond her guardian could form, and that realization cut deeper than any blade. Her voice cracked as she spoke, not in anger now, but in fear. Why him? I gave you everything. I stayed beside you when no one else dared. Why him?" The beast's glowing eyes turned toward her, steady and calm. It did not answer, but in its silence she felt something she had never felt before. A message. It wanted her to see what the human saw. It wanted her to understand that care was not only about rituals or chains or duty. It was about kindness, about touch, about respect. The human finally looked at her, his voice quiet but firm. "It doesn't mean it doesn't care for you. It only means you never gave it what it truly needed." His words hit her harder than any blow. She felt her pride shatter, her certainty dissolve. All around her, the marketplace boiled with noise, elders debating, merchants shouting, children staring wide-eyed. But inside her heart, there was only silence. The human leaned back, putting the brush aside. He wiped the soap from his hands and simply rested them on the beast's head. For a moment, it looked as if man and monster breathed as one. The girl's chest ached. She wanted to hate him. She wanted to tear him apart for stealing what was hers, and yet, a small frightening part of her whispered that maybe, just maybe, he had not stolen anything. Maybe he had only uncovered what had been hidden all along. The beast's heavy tail thudded again. This time it struck lightly against her side, not in anger but in invitation. she gasped. For the first time, it was as if the creature was telling her to come closer, not as its master but as its equal. Her hands shook. She could not move. The elders spoke again, their voices heavy with meaning. If the beast has formed a new bond, then our laws demand a trial. It must choose the girl who raised it or the human who touched its heart. The crowd roared in agreement. The girl's eyes widened in shock. A trial, a choice, and for the first time in her life she was terrified of losing. The market had turned into a storm of voices. Elders debated in low tones. Merchants shouted about curses, and children clung to their parents' arms, eyes wide with fear and wonder. But at the center of it all stood the alien girl, trembling, her chest heaving as she clutched the heavy chain of her beast. Her guardian, her pride, her companion, lay calmly on the stone, covered in soap and bubbles, its glowing eyes half closed with peace, and beside it knelt the human, his hand resting gently on the beast's head as if they had always belonged together. Something inside her broke. "Enough!" she screamed, her voice ringing across the market like thunder. The crowd fell silent at once. Her silver skin glistened under the suns, her eyes burning with fire. "I will not stand here while this outsider humiliates me. While he humiliates us all." She pointed a trembling finger at the human. "You came here with nothing. You touched what you do not understand. And now you trick my guardian into forgetting its bond with me. This is not kindness. This is theft." The human did not rise. He stayed calm, his voice quiet. "I stole nothing. It only responded to what it needed." Her face twisted with rage. His calmness felt like mockery. Every word he spoke was a knife cutting into her pride. "You dare speak of need?" she shouted. Her voice cracked with fury. "Do you know how many nights I stayed awake beside it? How many times I risked my life when it thrashed in fury? I gave it everything, my blood, my years, my duty. And you—" She stepped forward, her fists trembling. "You come with soap and water and act like you have given it the world." The crowd stirred uneasily. Some nodded, murmuring that she was right. Others remained silent, watching with heavy eyes. The beast raised its head slightly at her shouting. Its glowing eyes flickered between her and the human. The girl pulled the chain hard, her breath ragged. "Guardian, look at me. I am your keeper. I am your master. Obey me." The creature didn't move. Instead, its tail flicked against the stone in a slow, steady rhythm, calm, not violent. Her heart cracked. It was as if her cries no longer reached it. She stumbled back, her voice lowering into something desperate. Why him? Why not me?" The human finally stood, rising slowly to his feet. His eyes met hers, steady and firm. "Because you chained it," he said softly. "I freed it." The words struck her like lightning. Gasps spread across the market. Some of the elders frowned, but others looked thoughtful, their faces unreadable. Her fury exploded. She screamed again, louder than before, her voice shaking the ground. "Lies! You use tricks! Some alien magic! You are not chosen. You are a deceiver." Her hands flew to the dagger at her belt. The crowd gasped. In one swift motion, she drew the blade and pointed it at the human. Her chest rose and fell in rapid bursts. "If you mean to steal my guardian, then you will have to fight me for it." The human did not flinch. His eyes stayed calm, his hands open at his sides. "I don't want to steal it," he said firmly. "I only want it to be treated with care. That is all." His calm words only fueled her fire. "You speak as if you know us," she spat. "As if you know our traditions better than we do. You shame me in front of my people. You make me look weak." She stepped closer, her blade trembling in her hand. The beast rumbled low, watching her carefully. For a heartbeat, everyone feared it would attack. But the human stepped between her and the beast, his voice steady. "It's not me making you weak," he said. "It's your fear of losing what you think belongs only to you." Her eyes widened, her rage faltering for a split second. The truth in his words burned her worse than any wound. "Silence," she cried, her voice breaking. "I will not listen to this, elders." She spun toward the robed figures at the edge of the crowd. "You see this? He insults our laws, our honor, our very way of life. He must be punished, exiled, killed if need be." The market roared with shouts, some agreeing, others hesitating. The elders whispered among themselves, their eyes shifting between the girl, the beast, and the human. The girl's chest heaved, her whole body trembling. She felt trapped, cornered, betrayed. For the first time, she wasn't certain if her people stood with her, or with the stranger. Her voice dropped to a whisper filled with both rage and despair. "If I lose it, I lose everything. I cannot let that happen, the beast growled softly, not in anger, but in warning. The sound silenced her. Its glowing eyes locked on hers, steady and calm, as if telling her, "You are not losing me." You are only afraid, but she could not hear that message. Not yet. Her outburst had shaken the market, the elders, even herself. And as she lowered the blade with trembling hands, one thing became certain. The trial was no longer a question of choice. It was destiny. The marketplace fell into uneasy silence after the girl's furious outburst. Her blade still shook in her hand. The chain clinked softly against the stone, and the beast's glowing eyes stared at her with quiet judgment. Around them, the crowd whispered like restless wind torn between fear and wonder. The elders finally stepped forward. Their long robes dragged against the dust, their faces marked with age and wisdom. The eldest, a woman with silver hair and dark eyes, raised her hand for silence. The market obeyed instantly. "This cannot continue," she said, her voice calm but heavy with authority. "The bond between guardian and keeper has been shaken. Our laws demand clarity. When a beast shows loyalty to more than one, a trial must be held." The girl's heart lurched. She had known those words were coming, but hearing them felt like a knife. Her fist tightened around the chain. The human frowned slightly. "A trial?" he asked, his voice steady, though his eyes held curiosity. The elder nodded. "Yes, a trial of trust. The guardian must choose. It will reveal who its true bond lies with. Only then can peace return." The girl shook her head violently, her voice trembling. "No, this is wrong. I raised it. I gave it everything. There is no need for a trial." But the elder's eyes were sharp. "If your words are true, then you have nothing to fear. The guardian will choose you." Her breath caught. Deep inside she was afraid. She turned her gaze to the beast only to see it calm. Its massive body relaxed beside the human. Panic twisted in her chest. The elders cleared a wide space in the marketplace. Merchants pulled their stalls back. Children were ushered away. The crowd formed a circle, their voices hushed with suspense. The beast stood slowly, Soap still clinging to its fur, its chains rattling as it moved. Its presence filled the space with raw power. The elder raised her staff. "The rules are simple. The girl will stand on one side, the human on the other. The guardian will be freed from its chain. Whom it approaches first will be the chosen bond." Gasps spread through the crowd. Some whispered that freeing the beast was madness. Others insisted it was the only way. The girl's heart thundered in her chest. If the beast abandoned her, she would lose not only her companion but her honor, her title, her place in her people. The chain was unfastened. For the first time in years, the guardian beast stood unbound. It shook its massive body, foam scattering into the air. Its glowing eyes scanned the circle, powerful and wild, yet strangely calm. The girl stood tall on one side, her sash shining under the suns. Her voice rang out, strong though her hands shook. "Guardian, come to me. I am your keeper. I am your home." On the opposite side, the human simply knelt, his hands open, his gaze gentle. He said nothing. He only waited, calm and steady, as if trust could not be commanded but only given. The marketplace held its breath. The beast turned its head, looking at the girl. Its eyes lingered on her face. For a moment, hope swelled in her chest. She whispered urgently, "Yes, come to me. Choose me." But then the beast turned. Its gaze fell on the human. The human did not speak, did not move. He only waited. The girl's breath hitched. Panic raced through her veins. "Guardian," she cried desperately. "Do not betray me. I am yours." The beast stepped forward. One massive paw pressed into the dust, then another. Its heavy body shifted slowly. Its glowing eyes locked between the two figures. Each step echoed like thunder in the silence. The crowd leaned forward, some whispering prayers, others holding back screams. The beast paused in the center, staring at them both. Its chest rumbled with a low sound, not anger but thought. It looked at the girl, at her trembling hands, her burning eyes, her desperate face. Then it looked at the human, at his calm smile, his quiet patience, his open hands. Time itself seemed to stop. Finally, the beast moved. It stepped toward the human. Gasps erupted from the crowd. The girl's heart shattered in her chest. She wanted to scream, to deny it, to throw herself forward. But she was frozen. The beast lowered its massive head, pressing it gently against the human's chest. The human's hand rose, stroking its fur softly. The sound that followed was clear, a deep, rumbling purr of trust. The crowd roared. Some cried in awe, others in rage. The elders exchanged long, heavy glances. The girl fell to her knees, tears finally breaking from her eyes. Her voice cracked with despair. No, this cannot be. It cannot. But the trial was complete. The guardian had chosen. The elder raised her staff once more, her voice strong. The law is clear. The beast is bonded with the human. From this day, its loyalty lies with him. The market erupted with chaos, half the crowd shouting for punishment, half crying for honor. But the girl heard nothing. Her heart was hollow. She had lost everything. And yet, as she looked up through her tears, she saw the beast turn its glowing eyes back toward her. Its tail flicked once, slow and steady, as if to say, "You are not forgotten. You are still part of me." But her pride could not accept it. Not yet. The trial had ended, but the true conflict was only beginning. The marketplace had never been so divided. Half the crowd shouted for the human to be honored. Half demanded he be punished. The beast stood calmly beside him, its glowing eyes scanning the chaos, its fur still shining with soap and water. The alien girl remained on her knees, her chest heaving, her heart torn in two. The elder's voice tried to rise above the noise. Silence. The trial is complete. The guardian has chosen. But her words could not calm the storm. Some shouted that tradition was broken. Others argued that a new bond meant a new path. The air shook with anger, fear, and disbelief. The girl's fist dug into the dirt. Her people's voices felt like knives stabbing her from every side. She had lost. She had failed. Everything she had lived for, her duty, her honor, her bond, was gone. The human knelt again, resting his hand gently on the beast's head. Easy, he whispered to it, as if calming not only the guardian but the entire crowd. The creature rumbled softly, and the sound rolled across the market like thunder, silencing voices for a brief moment. The girl looked up, her silver eyes burning with tears. "Why him?" she whispered brokenly. "Why not me? I gave you everything." To her shock, the beast moved. It turned from the human and stepped toward her. The ground shook under its massive paws. The crowd gasped, some screaming, afraid it would strike her down. She froze as its enormous head lowered in front of her. Its glowing eyes stared into hers. She gripped the chain tightly, trembling, ready for claws or teeth. But instead, it nudged her shoulder gently. The touch was soft, almost comforting. Her breath caught. The human smiled faintly. "Do you see? It didn't abandon you. It chose us both," the crowd murmured in confusion. "Both? Impossible. The beast can only bond with one," but the truth was plain. The guardian beast pressed its head against the girl for a moment, then turned back to the human, lowering itself to the ground between them. Its massive body stretched across the stone like a wall of living muscle, but its eyes shone with calm. The girl's heart ached. All this time she had believed loyalty meant control, that to keep the beast she had to chain it, command it, demand its obedience. But now she understood. The human had given it something she never had: freedom, trust, care without condition. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "I was wrong. I was so wrong." The human looked at her, his expression kind. "You weren't wrong to love it. You were only afraid to lose it. But sometimes, the strongest bond comes when you stop trying to hold on so tightly." Tears streamed down her face. She reached out a trembling hand, and for the first time in years, the beast allowed her to stroke its fur freely. No chains, no commands, only touch. It purred softly, the sound filling her chest with warmth she had never felt before. The crowd, stunned into silence, watched in awe. The elder raised her staff once more, her voice strong. "Perhaps we must learn. Perhaps loyalty is not broken by sharing. Perhaps this is a new kind of bond, one that honors both." The people murmured uncertainly, but none could deny what they saw. The beast was calm. The girl and the human, standing side by side, both touched by its trust. Slowly, the girl rose to her feet. She wiped her tears, her voice steadier now. "I will not fight you anymore, human. If it has chosen you too, then I must accept it. But know this," her silver eyes met his firmly. "This bond is not yours alone. It is ours," the human nodded. "Then let's share it. Not as rivals, as equals." For the first time, a faint smile touched her lips. It was not wide, not free, but it was real. The guardian beast lay between them, foam still clinging to its fur. In the chaos of the marketplace, a strange peace had been born. Not one of tradition, not one of chains, but something new, something fragile yet strong. The elders watched closely, their eyes filled with both worry and hope. The crowd remained uncertain, but whispers spread like sparks. Perhaps this is the future. Perhaps this is what the beast has shown us. As the suns dipped low, casting golden light across the stone, the girl stood beside the human, her hand resting on her guardian's back. For the first time in her life, she did not feel alone in her duty. For the first time, she felt the weight of her bond lighten, and though pride still burned faintly in her chest, something else stirred within her, a strange respect for the human who had dared what no one else ever had. The beast's tail flicked once, slow and steady, its rumble deep and warm. It had not just chosen one. It had chosen both. The crowd might argue for days, the elders might debate for years, but one truth was clear. A new bond had been formed, stronger than chains, stronger than fear. And in that unexpected bond, both human and alien girl found something neither had known they were missing: